What is up, Bears fans? Welcome to the Bears Huddle podcast with me, your host, Owen James, a channel that brings you your Chicago Bears take from the United Kingdom. Yes, here in Old Blighty. It's it's about what? 6 on a Wednesday evening. So on a Wednesday, aren't we? On a Thursday, yeah. We are just one day away from the NFL draft, guys. We are fast approaching the day when we find out who the Bears take with the 10th pick in the NFL draft. And I'll tell you something, it's like Christmas Eve. It genuinely is like Christmas Eve, isn't it? It's like, you know, you go to bed on Christmas Eve and you go to bed and you're all excited to find out what you're going to get for Christmas the next day. You know, get down there Christmas morning to find out, have you got some good presents? Have you got decent presents, or have you got crap presents? What have you got? Have you got what you asked for? Or have you got something, you know, completely random, like a crappy knitted sweater from your granny or something like that? What have you got? And that's what it's like, isn't it? We're kind of waiting for that moment that Nick Foles, that's the quarterback, that Ryan Poles even will unveil our 10th pick, and we'll find out who we're going to get. Now, look, who could it be? I mean, that's the biggest thing. There's so many rumours and counter rumours, and I think, you know, going back to last year, we all knew it was going to be Caleb, didn't we? With the first pick, everyone knew it was going to be Caleb. We all knew that was going to be the case. We all knew we would be a wide receiver at 9. We kind of all knew where we were going. And I think the interesting thing is, in previous years, you've had a situation where when Bears GMs have been asked, you know, how many players are you looking at with their first pick, whether that's the 10th, the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 8th, the 18th, whatever they're looking at. They've kind of had a number. I remember one year someone saying it was 7. This year it's a pool of players, you know, and I think there is that uncertainty because no one knows who is going to be available at 10. Nobody knows what the situation is going to be. No one knows whether Jeanty's going to be available. No one knows whether Mason Graham's going to be available. No one knows whether Tyler Warren's going to be there. You know, it's all up in the air, isn't it, about what is happening. Now, I think, you know, one of the things we've got to kind of think about here, one of the things we've got to kind of take into account here is, you know, where do the Bears go? I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. Where do the Bears go? Now, you know, yesterday during the press availability, Ryan Poles said that basically, you know, we want someone who can come in and help us quickly. So we want someone who, you know, can come in, start from day one, be a day one starter. So it's looking at a player who is a top level talent in this draft. And, you know, you're looking at the likes of Will Campbell, you're looking at the likes of Ashton Jeanty, you're looking at the likes of Tyler Warren, Armand Membu, Mason Graham. You know, these are top level guys who, you know, from, you know, day one are going to come in, hit the ground running, and going to be able to, you know, start the game for the Bears on week 1 of the 2025 NFL season. Now, some news going around this draft is obviously around left tackle Will Campbell. Now, look, Braxton Jones obviously is injured. That's a fact, right? We know that. He is on his way back from that ankle injury. I mean, listening to some people, you'd think his leg had fallen off, given obviously the nature of the injury. He's been called limited. I mean, that's in terms of his injury, guys, not in terms of his ability. But yeah, he's been been termed as limited. He's been termed as the fact that, you know, he won't probably be fully ready to go for the start of the NFL season, which obviously leans on Kieran Amagadji to come in if he's fit. You know, Braxton Jones as well obviously has his weaknesses, he has his drawbacks, doesn't he? And, you know, there's issues there around Braxton Jones, and people, you know, doubt whether he can be, you know, the Bears' long-term left tackle, you know, that he hasn't really got the talent for it. Now, look, a lot of people, you know, including myself on that video yesterday that we put out, you know, it was saying it's about the trenches. It's about building the trenches. You know, if you look at other top teams that have gone on to win Super Bowls, it's all about getting the trenches right. Now, according to reports in today's media, Will Campbell has been told that if he is a Bear, if he's selected at 10 by the Bears on Thursday evening, then he will be a left tackle. They will not use him as a right tackle, given obviously there was questions asked yesterday as regards moving Darnell Wright to left tackle. I think that is very much around if the Bears were to draft Armand Membu, who is a right tackle. Membu would slip into right tackle, and of course Darnell Wright would go to left tackle, unless of course they tried to convert Membu into a left tackle. That's obviously the situation. But Will Campbell obviously has been told that he is going to be a left tackle if selected by the Bears. I mean, in terms of Will Campbell, you know, he's a big guy, 6'6", 319 pounds, out of LSU. 9.5-inch hands, 77 and 2/8-inch span. The one thing that's kind of been held out and held against Will Campbell going into this draft process, and has kind of caused the up and down on the whole left offensive tackle sliding scale of who's the best tackle in this draft. And I think the draft class, I think to be honest with you, the tackle class is very deep. But I think there is a gap between the top tackles and the rest of the tackles, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, is his arm length? His arm length is 32 and 5/8 inches, which some people say is a little bit small for a tackle. However, it appears that the Bears, after speaking to Will Campbell, have absolutely no concerns about that arm length. And certainly, in what he's done in his college career in LSU, nothing appears to have gone against him as regards that arm length. It doesn't ever appear to have been an issue. He's always performed exceptionally well. He's always protected the quarterback's blind side exceptionally well too. In terms of his ratings, he's 94% on the pass blocking. He's 84% on the run blocking. He is rated as one of the top 10 prospects in this draft. He is position ranked number 1 in his draft in his position group. He is rated as 90 out of 100 by ESPN, 96 out of 100 by 24/7 Sports, and he's rated as 98% by Rivals.com. In terms of players that he is regarded as being similar to, you're looking at JC Latham, you're looking at Elijah Vera Tucker, you're looking at Broderick Jones, has been the players that he is very similar to. Will Campbell is an elite level talent. He really is. In terms of what he possesses, in terms of his scouting report, who he is as a player, he possesses elite level recovery ability, showing exceptional athleticism to redirect, maintain pocket integrity, even when initially beaten around the edge. So it's that get back ability that he has. Displays outstanding grip strength and hand placement, consistently neutralizing power rushes by establishing early control and maintaining leverage through the rep. So obviously that's one thing. His hand placement is excellent, which is one concern that's been expressed around Calvin Banks Jr., who is another left tackle in this draft, very highly rated. Some people have linked him with the Bears at 10. Hand placement is an issue for Banks. Demonstrates exceptional football IQ in picking up stunts, delayed blitzes, rarely looking confused against complex pressure packages, master technician in the pass protection and precise footwork, maintaining proper depth and staying square through his kick slide progression, brings nasty finishing attitude in the run game, consistently driving defenders off their spot, relentless leg drive and core strength, shows beautiful fluidity working to the second level, especially on combo blocks, exceptional anchor, natural knee bender who maintains leverage throughout his contact. So he's got a whole level. He's got all the skills to be a top level tackle. Like I said, his below average arm length is one of the things that's kind of been held against him. In the weaknesses on the draft report, it says below average arm length for an NFL tackle could create issues against longer edge rushers who can get into his frame before he establishes position. So, this is something obviously, that is a concern, but it appears that, the Bears don't see this as a concern at all. Now, in terms of Will Campbell, I mean, he's been projected at a number of different places. I mean, he was projected to go to 4 to the Patriots. He's been projected 6 to the Raiders. He's been projected a number of different times. And I think, in terms of this draft class, like I said, at the tackle position, you have got a situation where, you've got Will Campbell, you've got Kelvin Banks Jr., you've got Armand Membu, you've got, who else is on that line? Josh Simmons. I mean, they are the 4 outstanding tackles in this draft. For me, Will Campbell is number 1 by a street. Armand Membu is number 2. Calvin Banks Jr. probably comes in at number 3, given his weaknesses against the bull rush and his weaknesses hand placement. Josh Simmons comes in at 4. Josh Simmons, I think, would be the number 1 tackle. He's a left tackle as well, if he had not had that horrific injury at Ohio State. He is a very, very talented tackle, very talented, and I think he is someone that that could well have perhaps have been an option at 10 had he not had that issues with injury. I think he still could be a first round option if there was a trade back to take place. I mean, the other tackles, there are some other very good tackles in this draft who you could take in the second round, but there is still, I think, a gap between those top 4 and the next little group. These guys probably wouldn't be instant day 1 starters, which then would go against what Ryan Poles was saying about help us quickly. I mean, Gray Zabel, Josh Connolly, Jonas Savanae, Arante Erse, they're all very, very talented, and I think, could in time become NFL left tackles, right tackles, whatever, wherever the Bears want to use them. I think they have got that talent, but it would take time with these guys. These guys would be project players, certainly not instant hit players. So, look, this is the situation. I mean, Will Campbell, like I said, it's the arm length was kind of put against him, but it doesn't seem to be an issue with the Bears. And the Bears have said that if he was to be drafted by them, he would be a left tackle. I think he would start from day one as well, given his talent. But, it's one of those drafts that are so confusing. Where does everybody go? Where do people, where does Jeanty go? Where does he go? I've got to say though, Ashton Jeanty has gone right up in my estimations with his comments today. He said he was asked about Green Bay and what he thought of Green Bay, and he went, "There's not much to do here, is there?" Basically saying Green Bay is very boring. Yep, he's a Bear already. So there we go. Ashton Jeanty, you are welcome in Chicago anytime, brother. Look, in terms of what happens, like I said, I think we can all kind of say that Cam Ward is going to go one. I think that is a given, given the fact that the Titans GM came out the other day and he said that they decided pretty much to pick one. I think that, that it is a case that Cam Ward will go one. I genuinely do not know what the Isle of Misfit Toys will do at pick 2. That's the Cleveland Browns. I mean, look, there's some talk saying they'll go with Abdul Carter to go opposite Myles Garrett to give them a fearsome pass rush. Others are saying that Travis Hunter will be their boy. Travis Hunter, obviously, who is an exceptional talent on both sides of the ball. I mean, this guy is just absolute dog. And I mean, if he was there for the Bears at 10, I would absolutely sprint like Usain Bolt to the podium to claim him. He is an absolute talent. Travis Hunter, obviously, outstanding. He could go to the Giants if he's not picked up by the Browns. Giants could still select Shedeur Sanders at 3, given their quarterback needs. It could be that they see that this is a chance for their GM and their head coach to preserve their jobs and say, look, we've got Russell Wilson, we've got Shedeur Sanders to sit and learn behind him. In time, we need to have time now to create this team and try and save their jobs. I mean, that could be something they do, a bit of self-preservation. Like I said, Will Campbell is slated to go 4 to the Patriots, or maybe 6 to the Raiders if they do go with an offensive lineman. Jeanty, could go 5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That seems to be an option that is now been talked up. Could go 6 to the Raiders. Could go 9 to the Saints. Who knows? Mason Graham, I think, he is certainly a talent. Now, some people are saying that if the Jags do go, say, with Jeanty at 5 or with an offensive lineman at 5, that then Mason Graham could well fall to the Bears. And if he does, then that's a snap the hand off, get to the podium and get him kind of situation. I don't know. It's all up in the air, isn't it? Membu, I think he's been very much slated to go to either the Jets at 7 or even possibly to go to the Jags. You've got Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan, slated to go to the to the Panthers, or even Jalen Walker. He's been talked of, the kind of less gobshitey Micah Parsons. A lot of the projections around 10 from a lot of organisations now seem to be projecting Tyler Warren to the Bears at 10. I think obviously given the fact that, that Ryan Poles made those comments about a weapon to help, well, not a weapon, a person to help us now, people have kind of put 2 and 2 together and maybe come up with 5, that it's going to be a weapon, it's going to be someone who can impact the offense, impact the team from day one, which certainly Tyler Warren could do. I mean, Tyler Warren, don't get me wrong, is an absolute weapon. He is an absolute dog. He's quick for his size. He can line up in the slot. He can line up out wide. He can line up in the backfield. He can line up at quarterback. He can line up at tight end. He can, he's got everything. He's got everything to be a top NFL player. And I think there's a lot of people who are mocking Tyler Warren at 10 to the Bears if Jeanty's gone, if Membu's gone, if Campbell's gone. Look, I wouldn't be opposed to Tyler Warren. I think he would really fit Ben Johnson's system. I think Ben Johnson would love him as an offensive weapon, and I think could do some really clever things with him. I think that is, certainly something, that could well happen. But it is so uncertain, isn't it? Who it's going to be and who they will take at 10. Even given those comments that Ryan Poles made and obviously Ian Cunningham as well in their press availability. But some interesting bits and pieces, like I said, going around Mason Graham, around Will Campbell, and the Chicago Bears. Guys, I'd love to know your thoughts. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts? Guys, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the Bears Huddle podcast, guys. As always, on the way out, please like, comment, share, and obviously subscribe. Help the channel to grow. Let's build our fan community across the world, across the pond. And remember to bear down.